Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Tonight for supper we're going to have Sauerbraten. Now, Sauerbraten is just a very traditional German pot roast, and it's very spicy and quite delicious, and it's also super tender. So I'm going to do my version of it, okay? And I'm going to make it in the pressure cooker. So normally what you would have to do is marinate the beef in a brine of vinegar, red wine vinegar and red wine, and a lot of spices and some sugar and salt, and you'd have to do that for 48 to 72 hours in your refrigerator and turn it, a couple of times a day. And I've done that before, and it's just a lot of trouble. But I think that making it in the pressure cooker is going to be a lot faster. I know it is. It only takes about an hour. And I'm going to use some meat tenderizer on the meat. And that way the flavors will all go into the meat a lot better, and we'll be cooking it at high pressure. So here's what we're going to do first. Now, this is a chuck roast. I got it on sale, of course. And this is Angus beef. And what I'm going to do first is put some meat tenderizer. Now, this is all natural meat tenderizer. So I'm going to put it all over the surface here. And then I'm going to pierce it, even all the way through, and just keep piercing it everywhere. Now, this was a pretty good looking piece of meat, I thought. Now, I debated on whether to do a rump roast or a round roast, but in the end I decided on the chuck roast because I really like the way they taste. Now, before I do the second side, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 tablespoons of oil in the bottom of my pressure cooker. And go ahead and turn the burner on. And I'm going to turn that burner on to medium-high. And I want the meat to be, well browned on each side. So now we're just going to turn it over. I'm trying to be careful not to touch that because I ran out of those little plastic gloves. So, okay, I'm going to pierce it again a whole bunch of times. Now, what goes into the Sauerbraten is going to make a gravy at the same time that it's cooking. And what we'll do is end up putting the juice from this into a blender and blending it up, and that's going to end up being our gravy. Okay, I think that's pierced enough. Now, the vegetables that are going to go in will be celery, onions, and carrots. Now, I've already peeled these, and I'm going to cut up those carrots and cut up the onions and celery, and I'm going to make my brine in a little bowl. Now, the brine, we're just, of course, waiting for our skillet, the bottom of our pressure cooker to get good and hot. So, first thing we're going to use is some red wine. And we will need 1/2 cup, and that wine could be whatever you choose. And to that, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of red wine vinegar. Go. Alright, now I want to add 2 bay leaves, and I'm going to give you this recipe at the end. I've already got it written out. So we want 2 nice little bay leaves. It's just 2 bay leaves. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. I'm running low on that, so hopefully I've got a teaspoon. And I do. All right. 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. 2 teaspoons of just regular salt. And now we want a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, not garlic salt, garlic powder. Just dump that in. All right, now that's our brine. And some people make the brine by just adding pickling spices, and that would be fine if that's what you wanted to do, if you have that. Now to this, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of, I'm using light brown sugar. Just light brown sugar, 1/4 cup. And put that all in your little bowl. Now I'm just going to stir that around, get that sugar dissolved just a little bit. I didn't have my burner on, so of course my pot wasn't getting hot, but it'll be getting hot now in just a second. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my vegetables to go into the pot along with the meat after it's brown. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these up. Now these vegetables are going to, of course, cook right along with the meat, and they'll become very soft, and in the end what we're going to do is actually grind these up in the blender, and that's going to make our gravy. Now I'm going to serve this with some little potatoes, some of those little gourmet potatoes, and some steamed cabbage. Now I'm going to fix the cabbage after I fix the Sauerbraten. I'm going to just take it out of the pot and wash the pot out, and I will make the steamed cabbage. And I'll show you how I do that. It takes only 3 minutes to fix steamed cabbage in the pressure cooker. And usually I just cut a whole head of cabbage into quarters and just position it in the pot, get it up on the highest pressure, and time it for 3 minutes, cool it down, and voila, you've got steamed cabbage. Okay, there's my carrots. And I'm on my onions, just going to rough chop those. Because remember, you're going to grind all this up anyway, so. And these are 2 medium-sized yellow onions. And of course, you could use any kind of onion you wanted, just sort of make it this amount. All right, so there's my vegetables. All right, my pot's hot now. And actually smoking a little bit. So I'm going to turn the burner down to just sort of medium high. And I'm going to brown this chuck roast on both sides. Alright, after I've browned it on both sides, we'll be back. And before I go though, you're going to add 3/4 cup of ground ginger snaps. Now, sometimes you have a hard time finding ginger snaps because they're a real old-fashioned cookie. But you'll need 3/4 cup of these little cookies ground up, you know, into almost a flour. All right, I'm going to take care of that, and we'll be back. Okay, my meat has nicely browned, and what I'm going to do is move this off the burner, and I'm going to sit my meat up on a little wire rack, and that's just kind of double insurance to make sure that my meat doesn't stick to the bottom. I don't think it will, but I want to be sure. Now, to my little brine, I'm going to add 1 cup of water. Just mix that around a little bit. Then I'm going to pour it all right over the beef. Turn that to the burner. I'm going to turn my burner up on high because I want to be able to get my pressure built up as soon as I put the lid on. So now I'm going to add the 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, and the 2 onions. Alright, spread those around a little bit. Now here's where it gets really unusual. Here's a 3/4 cup of ground up ginger snaps. I'm going to dump those right on top of the meat, just like that. Alright, we are ready to put our lid on. Lock it. Put my little pressure regulator on. Go ahead and turn it to steam, and once the steam starts coming out of it in a pretty steady little stream up about maybe that high, I'm going to close it and turn it to 2, and then we're going to leave the pressure up for 60 minutes. And after about 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and start boiling my little potatoes, and I'll go ahead also and quarter my cabbage because I'm going to cook that in the pressure cooker too. Alright, once this gets done, we'll be back. Alright, my Sauerbraten has completed cooking for 1 hour. I did finally have to turn my burner all the way down completely to low. So we'll see what this looks like. The first thing I need to do is take out my little bay leaves. I found one of them, now I need to find the other one. Oh well, it'll show up somewhere. Scrape all that, the ginger snap off the top of it. Let's see if we can get this out of here. I'm going to use 2 spatulas. Take out my little wire. Alright, I think that bay leaf will show up in a minute, I guess. Alright, there it is. Put it down in my little bowl here. There's my other bay leaf. So you need to make sure you take out the 2 bay leaves, and there's a little blob of fat. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. There it is. That's a little piece of onion there. There it is. All right, the next thing we're going to do is all of our juice. I'm going to put that in the blender now. I'm going to let it cool down just a little bit first and blend that all up till it's real smooth. And any little pieces of fat that I see, I'm going to pick those out. And then I'm going to be washing out my pressure cooker. I'm going to be cutting this in quarters and steaming it for about 4 minutes. So we'll be back. Okay. The juice left from fixing the Sauerbraten will make about 1 quart of gravy. And here's the gravy. And when you put it in the blender, you want to, don't start it off on high, just start off on low and then build up to high because it's very hot. Alright, we're ready to fix the cabbage. I'm going to show you how to do this. I need a serrated knife. Let me see if I can find one. Alright, here we go. Alright. I'm going to cut this in half. Then I'm going to cut it right down the middle of this little center stalk here. And I do that because I want it to hold together in the pressure cooker. So again, right down the middle of that center stalk. Now I'm going to place it in my little basket. Now this came with the pressure cooker, so I'm going to just really sort of put it back together somewhat. Just like that. Put it right down in my pressure cooker. I'll make sure that my little handle is up so that when I go to take it out I can get a hold of it. Alright, now to the pressure cooker you want to add 1 cup of water because this is a 6-quart pressure cooker. So 1 cup of water. I'm going to turn my burner up on high. Go ahead and put the lid back on there. You start timing when the pressure reaches the cook level. And that will be when the steam starts coming out of it and coming out here. Then this little button over here, let me put it so you can see it. This little button over here is going to pop up, and then I'm going to turn it over to 2, which will be on high. Now, I wanted to show you this. I hope you can see it. This is an old book. It's from the 1950s, and this one came with my mother's pressure cooker, and she ended up giving that to me. I probably got it in the 70s, and it finally, the seal messed up, and we couldn't buy another seal because it was so old. But anyway, I kept the little book, and hopefully you can see this, on cabbage, quartered, 3 to 4 minutes. And if you've got a 6-quart cooker, which is what I've got, you put 1 cup of water in it, 1 cup. Now down here at the bottom it tells you that all the little ones that have stars, you should immediately cool the cooker. So what I do is just sit it down in a sink of cool water, and it just, the pressure goes right straight down. So anyway, we're going to let this come up to full pressure, and once it does, it'll be 4 minutes, and then we immediately cool it and the cabbage will be ready. Now my Sauerbraten is ready. Let me turn that around so you can see. My Sauerbraten is ready. My gravy is ready. And I boil some little, those little red gourmet potatoes. And normally the way you would serve this is you're going to have some meat and potatoes on your plate, and you'd put the gravy over your potatoes also. So I just boiled those in the skin and then just salted them. All right, we'll be back. All right, the cabbage is now done. So what I'm going to do is use these little things here, and I'm going to take it out, stand it up like that, with that end up, because I'm going to cut that off as soon as I get it all out. Now it's very, very hot. Okay, let me turn that down so you can see. Whoops. All right. Now, I'm going to take my trusty scissors, and I'm just going to cut that core piece off right there. Okay. Now we're going to use a little paprika if I can find it. Let's see. I cannot find my paprika up here in the cabinet. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, just some regular paprika, some salt. That will kind of fall down in between the leaves. And now, put a little pat of butter right on the top of it there. Kind of let it run down. Mash it in a little bit. I need to cut a little more off this one. There we go. Now it's off. We'll press a little butter into it. And one more. Alright, there you have it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of paprika on it, just to give it a little bit of color. There goes my butter. Oops. Alrighty. There you have it, steamed cabbage, and it's been quartered. Alright, let me show you what all this looks like. I'm going to take this camera off. Flip it around and show you what it looks like. There are my potatoes, my steamed cabbage, and here is the Sauerbraten now, and of course the gravy. This is what I do to cut it. I get that off there. See how tender that is? Just cut little sections out. Super, super tender. Obviously, it's going to be too tender to really cut with a knife. So anyway, here's the meal. A really nice German meal. And I sure hope you'll get you a pressure cooker if you don't have one, because boy, you can fix stuff so much faster. Alright, I promised you the recipe, so I'm going to show you that. Alright, here's the recipe. Just put your computer on pause to be able to read that. Okay, go back up again. And again, you can really fix the Sauerbraten in, I'm going to say, an hour and a half. It'd take an hour to cook, but you have to brown it. And of course you can fix the cabbage and the potatoes while this is cooking. Alright, see you next time.